There is so much that goes on in the mind of a student who has just left senior 4 and progressing to the advanced level of education in secondary. So much that they have to weigh their options. Sciences pay better. Arts, well, what will I do with an arts course if it is not to become a lawyer? Well, here is my story. My name is Jessica Nampijja and this is Hearts Ministrations. If you haven't watched my previous video, please just check on the playlist Creative Awakening. Tap the video, subscribe, like, comment. Let's grow together. I love you. So, I have always been a lover of English. Majorly because I grew up seeing teachers who expressed themselves and just walked the talk. You know, when someone teaches you, when they show you, they love what they are doing and not necessarily telling you should do what I'm doing, but teaching you in such a way that they are showing you commitment. Guys, I was so much into knowing. I was curious and I have always been a curious person. So the perks of being a literature student, well, I'll tell you my story. Me becoming a literature student was because of a story I told you about, of course. My literature teacher in senior 4 told me I was a natural. I felt it to the bone. And guys, tell me why I went to this new school and the teachers there loved me. Guys, there is this aura that has always been around me that people are just welcoming me into their spaces. But growing up, I was a shy person, not really confident in my skin, not really expressing myself and my opinions, and that has cost me a lot. Well, until I learned how to be my own self and be in my own skin and not be scared of what other people think of me. Yeah. So when I went to that school, things had just changed in the education circle, curriculum things, and all senior 3 students had to choose 2 subjects that they had to do as an addition to the 8 compulsory subjects in senior 3. So I looked at everything I had and I was weighing all my options and I was like, Jessica, what are we going to do? But I had this love for English to a point like I wanted to take it further in my life. So I looked at all the grades I had. There's an option of taking on foods and nutrition. I was good in cooking and I knew all those notes and all. I passed all those exams, so I qualified for foods and nutrition. I could also have taken up French. There's also that option because it was beginner friendly. Senior 3. I had an option of taking up fine art. I was good in art, guys. I was good in art, but somehow inside me I felt something pulling me towards literature. So I chose literature because I wanted to. No one forced me, and I think growing up my parents saw it in me. I was this person who wanted to express myself to the point that the only thing that silenced me was respect your elders. Why do you talk back? Okay, my opinion was put down always, and I think that's how my self-esteem was lowered. But generally speaking, I have always been someone who loves language, and I had passion for everything creative and beautiful. So I joined this school in my senior 3, starting first term, seeing new faces. And remember, most of the senior 3 students are students who have been in that school since senior 1. And I was a new student in a new school, adapting new ways. It's not always easy, but I found my way around it. So, me doing literature actually put me in that cool people crib. Not necessarily saying that poetry or writing or novels or reading was something cool in my school. No, they never treasured it that much. Honestly speaking, the only thing that school treasured was MDD and sports. And these were things that were already organized, scripted, and not chance for us students to suggest what we actually wanted to do during these times. Everything was scripted. We had to do that. But in my literature crib, I learned literature in such a way that I got attracted to books. I was introduced to Shakespeare, because in my senior 1 we learned Animal Farm. In my senior 2 we did a book called Major Mwangi. But in my senior 3 I was introduced to Alien Woman, Merchant of Venice, and so many other books. And these books actually aren't a genre I would go for right now as a person, but as a creative who was learning, I was introduced to this kind of world that showed me that stories are told through humor, through sarcasm, through irony, through satire, through all these kinds of devices, and stories are told through dialogue, set plots, well-written chapters, story building that is in such a way that it captures the reader's soul. And I was in that place to learn. I learned so much in literature. So if you are there and you want to choose literature, I encourage you. My dear, I encourage you. And if I had the chance, okay, I have a chance right now, schools should really treasure the creatives they have. These are the creators of tomorrow. These are the writers of tomorrow. A student is groomed to be who they will be in the future. But most schools show students that people who do arts are lousy. This is something I saw myself, not necessarily pointing out any school or anyone, but growing up, the schools I was in, and pointing out schools. The school that I studied in, my senior 1 and senior 2, they treasured art students. I think they knew what it means to be an artist, a creative, a writer, a reader, someone who loves everything to do with literature. Because I remember I had a friend, shout out to Zerida. Guys, I have a very beautiful voice when I start singing, and I never took up that career. Yeah, I never took up that career. But I had a friend called Zerida in senior 2, and she had a very beautiful voice. But she told me that she had been trained to sing, and she also had a brother, Benjamin. He also had a very good voice. Guys, when this duo came together and they performed, I was always mesmerized, and somehow I was drawn to Zerida. I became her friend, and we started singing together in the dormitories. Guys, they usually had something, I've forgotten what they used to call it, but it was always there on Saturday in the afternoon, like after lunch and all. You would go there for entertainment, and they would also have shows organized, and students would have a chance to become MCs, models, dancers. I think also that school groomed me. But in this new school that I came into in senior 3, it was all me. All me choosing to be a creative, guys. They never really put it out there that literature was good. This school, I think it treasured more of the science students to me. And for someone who was shy, these students they put me with, they were, I would say dumb, that's an insult. But they were students who had been told they're not good enough simply because their grades were not high. Actually, I think these things of grading students according to their brains and their grades is not cool at all. Because if someone really has the audacity of saying I am dumb, then we have a lot of work to do as a country, as mentors, as motivators, as role models. I was put in a stream where I had to work to even get good grades. Like, teachers graded us according to the streams we were in, and the way they taught, they made sure to put it that the streams we were in were for people who were dumb. And someone who had good grades from a new school, I still question myself. Why was I put in such a stream? Is it because I was a new student? I didn't like it at all. But anyways, let's talk about my sorrows. Let's focus on literature. Guys, literature can put you in places. Literature is something I have always loved. You will learn a lot when you choose literature. You learn a lot about language. And guys, let me tell you, when you know how to use language, write it and be creative with it, you will have so much to earn from. Because guys, right now in the country, we are looking at creators, not molded people who are made to work for white collar jobs. We're looking at creative people who can build up businesses from scratch. People who are creative in their minds. Creatives are researchers. Creatives are curious people. Creatives are hands-on. Creatives are skilled in such a way that they know how to persuade and talk about things and express themselves. Guys, there is a lot to gain in being a literature student. Guys, if I was not shy in school, I would be so far in my life. Look at the likes of should I mention her name? Look at the creatives who are on the higher platforms in Uganda right now. Looking at poets, poets like Angel Kabera. Looking at people who have taken on the art and embraced it fully and learned it, taken their time to learn and enjoy it all. They are gaining from the creative industry. Being a creative is not all about knowing the language. It's about you having a say on everything. How can I say it? If I was not a literature student, I wouldn't be able to do cement construction, do videos like this one, write my novel, When Flowers Fall. I actually wrote that book last year in 2025. I started in January with an aim of writing a chapter every day. And this was not actually my first book. This was my, I think, fourth book. Eliminating all the drafts that I had, because whenever I could, at some point in life, whenever I could start writing, an idea popped up and I would put that aside and tackle this, and I would have 2 projects that I had to choose which one is better. Guys, don't do that. Focus on one thing at a time. Now I learned my lessons. I don't want you to face all these things, but I successfully wrote my debut novel. Let me call that my debut novel, because it is a novel that I wrote that actually had good plot. It has good plot. It talks about the important topics in society: mental health, talking girlhood, talking love, and how family life influences a girl's life. Generally speaking, how people should be treated and how relationships should be treated in African homes, not the tight nature of parents in Uganda. I mean, a parent should be strict with their children, because children growing up, they're hard-headed and they're very curious. If they're not guided, they will go astray. But perks of being a literature student: you know very much about topics and ways of life. I learned so much about feminism and the actual meaning of the word feminism. Feminism is not how they frame it in the world, that it's about a woman doing a man's job. No. Or about a woman asking to be equal with a man. No. I learned feminism in my own way, and I chose to be a feminist because I was a literature student. But if you're not a literature student, you will not understand this. But being a literature student, I learned so much about life than I would have learned as someone who was just trained through life and thrown to the world to look out for myself. There is so much to learn from stories, because in literature we learned how to scrutinize stories, how to pick the major messages in the books that writers write, how to deliver a message without necessarily putting real life characters in the play. I learned so much about creativity and being creative in the mind, and how to use my mind, how to use my imagination to create the reality in our lives. Being a literature student pays so much to a point that you can apply for all these competitions like essay writing, story writing, short story writing. You can submit your work to different universities and foundations and fellowships, and you will be considered because you are a literature student and you know what you're doing. Being a literature student has dignified me and singled me out to a point that I know how to argue my way without necessarily attacking anyone. Guys, let's not undermine literature students. Literature students are, I don't know how to say it. I did literature in my O-level, in my A-level, and at university. But if I had not done literature, I wouldn't have been in those spaces for writers, spaces for poetry. I wouldn't have been on stage to do spoken word poetry if I was not a literature student. I wouldn't have applied for that poetry writing training that was there at university while I was there in I think it was my second year. I wouldn't have applied for it if it were not for me doing literature and knowing literature, because they were looking for students who did literature and had knowledge on life, were well read and all, and I qualified because I was a literature student. I got a certificate in poetry writing, and I continued with poetry writing. Guys, right now I have a poetry book, and I have been published in different anthologies. Guys, as a creative, as someone who has done literature, I have so much love for people who are growing into the industry. And I have so much love for students who have chosen to do literature on secondary level. There is so much for you in the world, people, my students. If I was a teacher, I would be a literature teacher. Yes, I would be a literature teacher. I would give the best to my students, and I would introduce all these book clubs, all these poetry writing clubs. Guys, me, the school I was in, we didn't even know about poetry slams. The teen poetry slam, I just landed on it I think when I got into the actual industry of poetry performance. It was 2023, and this was me becoming bold and audacious and all, and saying that I can do this. It's time for me to put myself out there. Yes, put myself out there. And I went on stage, performed, wrote, learned. Here I am, published in anthologies, published single debut poetry book collection, published novel online, and with prior knowledge to go further in my life. Guys, let no one scare you about choosing literature or being an art student, or choosing creativity over the so-called sciences. Not directly attacking a science student, no. I'm just saying there is so much to gain in literature. Like when you write a book, when you start creating, when you start writing, there is so much legacy that is left. You leave so much legacy for your children and your grandchildren and everyone. Guys, if I was a bold literature student, as I should have been, and I was not battered by all these people that I met on my way, on my journey, I would be so fine life. But it's not time for regrets. I'm just here to tell you facts and to tell you how precious you are, how good you are, how talented you are, and how God has gifted you with a precious, very unique gift. Guys, taking you to the Bible, look at David. God used David for a talent he was birthed and gifted with. David's mother taught her music, and he loved it to the point that he started writing his own poetry and songs, and he loved it so much that he even performed on weddings, on special days. See how King Saul sent for him, and they brought him to the palace, And he started his journey from there. Like, guys, all I can say, just embrace it. Embrace it. Be the person you were meant to be. See, most people that I've met in life, okay, they don't tell you this. When you're at university, probably your lecturers will tell you, you should know what you want. What really? If we have the right guidance and we know how to choose the things we love instead of the things we can earn from, Uganda as a country would be so far in growth. Because it's not all about a land skill, it's all about a creative mind. A mind that can create something that can earn for you. I have seen friends who have taken up different courses in life, different paths in life, but after 2 or 3 years, they come back and do a course in that thing they chose not to do. Some ran back to the arts industry, becoming producers, becoming writers, becoming content creators. But this all comes back to what you chose in the first place. I remain Jessica Nampijja and I love you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share and comment on this video. Let's grow together. We are still sharing more.